Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy holidays to everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Philly Pod. I'm Dave, along with my co-host, my friend as always, Mike, here to bring you another episode, talk about all things Philly sports. And pretty big, well, hopefully we hope everybody enjoyed your Turkey Day this past week. Hope everybody had a nice holiday. I know I did. I did for two reasons. The food was great. And Thanksgiving was a pretty good day for the Eagles.
Yes.
The way things shaked out. Now, we're going to see how things shape up in Week 12 here after the Eagles take on the Packers. But Thanksgiving Day, everything played out for the Eagles.
Yes.
You had the Detroit Lions knocked off the Vikings, which is big because that knocks the Vikings to 6-5, and the Eagles hold the tiebreaker over the Vikings. So that's big. True. And the Dallas Cowboys, we despise them a lot, but they knocked off the Washington Redskins and brought that team one step closer to the Eagles.
Yes.
So all in all, even though we didn't play any games, it was actually a pretty good day for the Eagles.
It was. Everything that could have gone right for them did go right for them. Now they just gotta do what they need to do and beat Green Bay at home.
Just taking care of business now, which we'll get into that game in a little bit. But we've also got this past weekend. We had big college football weekend.
Yes.
You got Penn State taking on Michigan State, a Big Ten. Obviously not the game in the Big Ten, but it's big for Penn State in their own way. And then you have the game of the weekend, Ohio State taking on Michigan, which could potentially have huge playoff implications for those Nittany Lions.
I'll tell you what, I hate Ohio State, and I know hate's a strong word, but I hate them. But for this weekend only, I'm pulling for Ohio State this weekend.
Well, Penn State's climbed all the way up to number 7 in the college football playoff rankings. So there's a chance, and it's a slight one, they could sneak their way in.
Yes.
So what we're going to talk about, A, is it possible for the Nittany Lions to get in? And B, if so, how do they sneak a spot? How do they sneak their way into this college football playoff system? So let's tackle that. Let's tackle that second half first. How can the Lions... How's Penn State going to be able to sneak their way in this? Or can they?
They need a lot to happen. First off, before they can even think about the Big Ten, they have to worry about the Big Ten championship game. They got to worry about today. They got to beat Michigan State, which I think they can do. Mm-hmm. They also need Michigan to lose in this game today in order for Penn State to clinch the Big Ten East title and go to the Big Ten championship game. They had the tiebreaker with Ohio State because they beat them earlier in the year.
But they're probably not going to leapfrog Ohio State.
No, they're not.
Ohio State's number 2 in the rankings.
Right now, Ohio State is their best friend.
Yeah.
Along with them beating Michigan State. Then they need Washington and either Michigan to lose today and Clemson to lose. Yeah. So,
I'll just go on record. I don't see any way this happens.
No, but you know what? I think at the very least, if Michigan loses, they have a chance to win the Big Ten title and go to a Rose Bowl game.
Oh, they'll have, if they can get the Big Ten title, they'll have a good bowl game for sure. But I see no way they get in.
No.
I'm looking at it here, like, they need Michigan to lose, because I think if Michigan loses, that drops them out of the top 4. Ohio State, I think Ohio State can survive this loss.
Yes.
And they still get into the playoffs.
Yes.
So you need Michigan to lose, which then you would need, to have any hope, you need Clemson, Washington, and Wisconsin all of these games as well.
Yes. Well, Wisconsin, if Penn State makes the Big Ten title game, they'd play Washington in the Big Ten championship game.
They'd play Wisconsin.
Yes.
All right, so that could be the way. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either, but I'm just – the scenarios that are right there for you. But a lot would have to happen. But, hey, props to Penn State for getting this far.
It's nice to see them getting up here as far as they have, because a couple months ago people were talking about James Franklin. We need to get rid of him, and I was one of them. I'm not a big James Franklin guy, but I'll give credit where credit's due. Ever since that Michigan loss, they've got things going in the right direction. They had a big win over Ohio State, took it to Purdue, Iowa, and most recently Rutgers. Now those aren't the most impressive
Yes.
wins. I mean, 62-24 over Purdue is pretty good. But I look at the 39-point loss to Michigan.
Yeah.
Is bad. That's a bad. I understand it was in Ann Arbor, but that's a bad loss. And then you have the loss to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I think that's where they that's why they won't make it, because of those two bad losses.
Yeah, I think that's going to be enough. And even I don't know. Even if Clemson, I don't know what the playoff rankings that the committee's going to take into effect, but take into account. There's a chance that Washington and Clemson, all those teams could lose, and they still don't put Penn State in.
Yeah,
just for that.
Those
just
two
for that
losses.
reason alone.
Yeah.
Now, I was talking to a buddy, Penn State guy, and he claims, well, you have to remember Penn State's a different team right now than when they played Michigan originally.
You still lost.
You
and
can't
they
take that into account.
They take into consideration everything that happened over the course
of the year. That was
my
point. That was my counterpoint to him. Well, it doesn't matter if they're a different team now. At the time they played, they lost by 39 points.
And you know what? That's the prime example why you don't see a big that in a title game. That's why you don't see. That's why Big 12 teams end up missing out on the playoffs, because of bad losses or because of the lack of a title game.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But all things are sure, we are definitely going to be pulling for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Hopefully, they get a win over Michigan State, and who knows? Stranger things have happened. I don't see it. I'll go on record. I don't see how Penn State gets in, but we'll get behind.
Yeah.
I'm willing to admit that, even as a Temple alum.
Yep.
We're all about Philly sports here, all about the
local teams.
The local teams, right, and the big picture.
Yes.
The greater goal.
Yes.
As we say. But, like we said, the Philadelphia Eagles had a good day Thanksgiving. Things worked out in their favor with the Vikings both losing and the Redskins losing.
Yes.
But a lot of things to talk about with the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly they're 5-5. And we're not going to get into the Seattle game. All we'll say, I posted my reaction on YouTube and all that out there. And like we said, we both expect the loss doesn't change anything about the playoff picture.
No.
Now, what does, the Green Bay game will definitely affect the playoff picture because they've got to win.
Yes.
They've got to win. Things are already starting to go against the Eagles. Vitai's going to be out. You knew that. And now Ryan Matthews, turns out he's not going to play either because of that knee injury. Darren Sproles apparently is dealing with broken ribs.
Ugh.
It looks like he's going to try to suit up and play. How effective he'll be in that game, we don't know. And then Nelson Agholor right now is a game-time decision. And, that reaction there by Mike is...
Yeah, don't get me started with him.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Nelson Agholor situation. And, you guys watch the Seahawks game. He had the big penalty on the illegal procedure and dropped would be at least 25-yard pass in that game. We're not going to talk about that stuff. His comments after the game, I hit on it in my reaction. He just sounds like a guy who's just
lost.
He just sounds totally lost, has no confidence in himself. I felt for him a little bit. I can empathize with him a little bit because it's clear this guy's putting all sorts of pressure. He's feeling the pressure from the city, from the team, and he's crumbling. He's not able to handle it.
Yeah, well, you gotta be able to leave some of that. You have to leave that. When you put your step foot on the field, you have to leave that behind. You have to leave that stress behind and try your best to fight that off as a football player. You can't take that on with you, because when you take that on with you onto the field, it screws up your game. It screws up your mentality. It screws up what you're trying to accomplish. And you can't doubt yourself.
Nah, for sure. And, hearing those comments, it's not surprising that he's playing the way he is.
Yeah.
Because now his mind's focused on all those things instead of focused on doing my job.
Yep.
Make sure I'm lined up correctly. Make sure I'm running the right route. Make sure I watch the ball into my hands. But then I think, well, maybe he just can't do it.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing, like, you don't know how guys, he has, coming out, he was unanimous, he was seen by all the scouts as a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like the Eagles just went and got like a Marcus Smith sort of deal.
Yeah.
This is a guy who was unanimous. He was going to be a first-round pick, was going to be something good. He had all the physical traits, they said, coming out, but you never know what a guy has in between the years.
Yeah.
And this is an example, like, he's in the spotlight. And listen, we're a tough city to play for.
We are.
Expectations are high. If you're not doing your job, you're going to hear about it here.
it takes a special person to play in this city.
You know? So are we partially responsible for this?
No. It's your job to come through and play, take things professionally. You're a first-round pick. Expectations are going to be high. Expectations are going to be high as a first-round pick.
Yeah, it just seems like the kid doesn't have the mindset. And honestly, I don't think it would be different in any other city. Because every fan base is like that. When you're dropping passes and doing the things he's doing, like, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
With the exception of St. Louis. That's the only sports town where you can do anything and those guys are still going to cheer you on. But you're going to hear that anywhere.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now, is it a little more so here? I would say so. It's a little bit. This is a tough city to play for. We have high expectations. If you're not doing your job, you're going to hear about it.
Yes.
But the way Agholor's played, he's going to hear it from any fan base.
Yeah.
He's made so many just bad mistakes at crucial moments in games, too.
Yeah. You can't make you can't let that happen.
I think this is just more an example. You have a guy who just doesn't have the mindset to be able to handle being a professional athlete.
Yeah.
And the expectations that come with it. So now they're talking about, so he made those comments after the game saying his head's not in it, he's too worried about the pressure, all that. And they're not even sure if he's going to play against the Packers. And now what's the best way to handle this coming up? Because you have the coach right now saying, I've never seen a situation like this where they're talking about not playing the guy because he's not in the right place mentally. What's the best situation to handle this? Do you sit him? What they're talking about doing is just scaling back the amount of plays he's getting on the field? Or do you just cut him out? Like, what's the best way to handle this?
Well, you can't cut him because of his contract. He's making $7 million this year, so you can't cut him.
Okay.
And I think that $7 million is just part of the first round. Being
I agree. I agree with that. You stuck with him for this year. You got to ride it out there.
I think the best way to handle it might be, because I think if you bench him for the week. Yeah, it might help him, but it might not help him with his mental state being the way it is already. So I think you scale back the number of plays he's in. You limit him, and you have other guys fill his spot when he's not on the field. I think you have to scale back his plays.
So I think that's the right approach. I don't think you can throw him out there the way you have the first 10 games because this is a crucial game.
Yes,
the game against the Packers. We'll see what when you listen to this, we'll find out whether or not they won or they lost. But like that, this is a crucial game. This is a must-win game if the Eagles are going to make the playoffs. And I don't know if I, as a coach, I can't put him out there.
No.
I cannot put him out there if I know that he's not 100%, not only physically but mentally. Like he is, who knows where his head is at during games. Like this is, to me, this is borderline ridiculous.
Yes,
this is that big an issue where it's going to affect him being able to be on the field.
Yes.
It's an unprecedented situation in a lot of ways.
The reason why I say you scale back the plays and you don't bench him completely is because he's already fragile mentally. If you bench him, it might break him.
But he sounds like he's already broken.
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't know where he is mentally right now, but I think you gotta play him just to kind of keep his confidence from being drained completely. Because I think he wants to be here. It's just he doesn't. I don't know. I don't know what you do there.
I don't know if his comments it was an overcompensation.
Yeah.
For the last time he faced criticism was, well, I don't care. I don't want to hear about all the drops.
Yeah.
And now this time he went too far, saying it's just my head's not in. I've never heard an athlete come out and say what Nelson Agholor said.
Yeah.
After that game.
It sounds like he has multiple personalities where it's like he'll go from one thing and then a couple weeks later, shift to another thing.
Well, I don't know. I can't attest to that. It's just, this is just. I'm shocked. This is just such a weird, different situation going on right now. But I think you just have a case of this guy who he can't handle the pressure.
You know what?
It's not for everybody. There's a lot of guys with the talent, but I think it's this aspect of it where they fizzle out.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this is a good time for veteran leadership to step in and help this guy out if they can. Because you do have some veterans on this team that have been there and have gone through those situations. So this is a time where you need to call the veterans out and they need to help this kid if they can.
Yeah,
that's a big if.
That's a big if. Yeah, that's a big if. Hopefully they try something there. But another thing that was a hot button topic and has been Obviously, Carson Wentz started out the year, 3-0.
Yeah.
We all know how he started out the season. Has not played that way as of recent weeks, and the speculation is, and there was actually a really good article written by Tim McManus. We'll post that link. Basically, the premise of the article is Carson Wentz's play is declining, and he is, I don't agree with this word, but is that he's regressing due to the lack of talent around him. And hearing that, I think there's some truth to that. I don't think he's regressed.
No.
Okay, I think these are just bumps in the road for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree that the weapons around Carson Wentz are holding him, and they're holding this team back.
Yes. I would agree.
You take a look at the wide receivers, right? Like Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews can play, but we talked about it. He's not a number one wide receiver.
No.
We said this from our very first episode back in August.
Yeah.
He's not a true number one wide receiver.
Nope.
All right? The DGB thing, I was not a fan of the Dorial Green-Beckham trade. Everybody was, he's an athletic freak.
Yeah.
He can do this. Yeah, well, remember, the Eagles got him because they traded Dennis Kelly.
Yes.
Which I said at the time was a big red flag for me.
Yep.
The Tennessee will be willing to let this guy go for a backup offensive lineman. DGB hasn't been anything.
Yeah.
Agholor, we all know the story.
Yep.
Josh Huff, while he was here, was nothing. Bryce Treggs has speed, but he's very raw still.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to see Paul Turner now come up when they figure out what they're going to do with Agholor going forward.
Yep.
It looks like Paul Turner's going to get a chance. But even then, Paul Turner did well in the preseason, but that's against second and third stringers.
Yeah, and that's the counterpoint I kind of think about when I hear the name Paul Turner. It's like, yeah, he might be all right, but you gotta remember he's making these plays against second and third stringers.
I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like to say Carson has regressed.
Yeah,
I think that's a poor choice of words.
Yeah, because he's making great passes.
He still has moments in games where you're like, okay, this kid's got it, but people are looking at that almost too literally.
Yeah.
Where like if you look at the way he started the season, he's regressed, but look at who they played.
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, I mean they played Cleveland, they played Chicago, and those are not two of the best teams. He played great against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's defense is not what it was, but he played well there.
Yep.
But there's game film out on him now. There's game film out on the Eagles.
Yes.
Seeing what they do well. Teams have adjusted. And the Eagles are having trouble adjusting back because they don't have the pieces in place.
No, they don't.
It's unfair. I think it's unfair to say that this kid has regressed.
Yeah.
Does the talent, the skill position holding him back? Absolutely. There was no argument there.
No.
Okay, but I don't think it's fair to say the kid's going backwards now.
No, and you got to remember, a lot of these passes he's making are great passes. They're just being dropped. He's making good passes. They're just being dropped.
And you don't know how that affects the game.
Yeah.
You don't know how that would affect his stat line. So
to say he's regressed, I think is a horrible word to use. I think he's just hitting those bumps in the road, like you said, where he's making great plays. It's just they're not coming through because the wide receivers are not making those necessary catches that he needs.
Listen, I'm all about Wentz. Listen. He is the quarterback here for the next 12, 15 years.
Yes.
No doubt about that in my mind. Okay, and I believe we're going to win a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz.
Yes.
I still believe that. But he's having rookie moments.
Yes.
It's not regression. It's just, it was inevitable. We talked about it. I forget what episode it was. Might have even been after the Pittsburgh game during the bye week. There were going to be moments he looks like a rookie.
Yes.
And I still don't understand why everybody was so upset after Seattle. Who thought they were going to win that game?
Not me.
Honestly.
Not you.
Come on. Come on, guys. He wasn't going to go in there, light up the Seahawks with Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor. That was not going to happen.
Oh, my God.
Okay?
It's funny to think that people actually thought that was
happen. Just pump the brakes a little bit. Yeah. I don't know what people expect sometimes. Just remember, he's a rookie, okay? We're not winning the Super Bowl this year. No. People want that. Too bad. All right, you got to get past that.
Yep. Be a realist.
It wasn't going to happen this year, but it's going to happen down the road.
It will.
Top priority in the offseason, I think he's got to be, you have to get Carson some weapons.
Weapons, and I think you have to work on the DBs.
Yeah, I would agree. You have a hole of right corner that you have to fix.
I do like Jalen Mills. He's impressed me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a guy that eventually turns into a shutdown corner.
Right.
You need to go out. You need to address that. You have to address that in the offseason. And it'll be fun. We get to see it up close and personal. Draft's coming to Philadelphia.
Yes. Yes.
They haven't announced whether they're even holding the draft yet. I haven't heard. I looked for tickets this weekend, and they aren't selling tickets yet.
That'll probably come in a few. I think it come like after the new year.
But it must be because they haven't figured out a venue yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have places in mind.
Yeah.
I haven't read it. I haven't done any research on it. But to my knowledge, they have not picked a venue yet. But that's going to be cool.
It will be.
I'm definitely going to that.
I want to go too.
Yeah. Well, let's go. We'll make a trip. Yeah. We get a live report from the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. But big game for the Eagles. Hopefully they pull it out. Hopefully when you're listening to this, they're sitting at 6-5 and in prime wild card position.
Yes.
The only other team, the thing that changed from the last time was that they're now tied with the Buccaneers currently in the playoff picture. And I didn't realize this. The Buccaneers actually currently they hold the tiebreaker. So we just want to real quick. We take a look at the Buccaneers' schedule, see who they have left. We still think the Eagles get to 10 wins. They can get in. What do you got over there for the Bucs, Mike?
They play at home against Seattle this week.
All right, that's a loss, so they're going to be 5-6.
They've got the Chargers.
Where's that?
That's in San Diego.
I got to give them a loss there. That's going to be tough. Young team going to the West Coast.
Then they return for a game with the Saints.
They could win that. That's a division game. They could win that, so there's possibly one win.
Then they're at Dallas.
Nope, that's a loss.
And at New Orleans.
Yeah, okay. So you probably don't have to worry about the Buccaneers.
And then they finish off the season at home against Carolina.
All right. I'm not worried about the Buccaneers. That's a pretty tough schedule.
Yeah.
All right, so Buccaneers, we can get past them. We talked about all the other scenarios before. So bottom line, nothing changed, but the Eagles have to win this coming game against the Packers, and then we'll take it from a game at a time from there.
And the good news is the Eagles have 4 of their last 6 at home.
That's big because this team plays well at home. But like we said, they're going to have to steal 2 games on the road.
Yes.
Or they're going to have to steal, a game on the road.
Yes.
All right, I'm assuming they're going to run the table at home. They steal one of those games either at Cincinnati or at Baltimore, which they're going to have to do. They might be all right.
Yes.
They might be all right then.
My only concern is Washington, and that's only because they have the one tie.
Well, it'll affect the win percentage. That's why they're going to have to. They have to finish the win higher than the Redskins. That's what they're going to have to do. So we'll see. It'll be an exciting end of the season, and I just want to see that they have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I still want a playoff game.
Yes,
but I could take away. I mean, I'll be disappointed if they don't get in the playoffs. That's my expectation.
Yeah,
I can live with as long as they're in the playoff hunt.
It's cool to see that. It's cool to see Carson Wentz at least be in the thick of things at this point of the season.
It is. It's a good experience for him.
Yeah.
It's great experience for him. And I didn't want him playing, but he can handle it. He's got the right mindset.
Yep.
Richard Sherman said on the game he wasn't deer in the headlights. He wasn't frozen by the pressure.
No.
It's just he's a rookie.
And you know what? We had this team pegged at 5 wins this year.
I did. Yeah, I'm holding my predictions right here. Yeah, I had him as 5-11 win. Yeah, 5-11 team. And they're already at 5 wins.
So. Hey, keep it up, Birds.
Yeah, it's a plus. But like I said, when you go 3-0, expectations change, and I want them in the playoffs.
All right, I do too.
Speaking of playoffs, those Flyers, as of this recording, sitting at 500, and as of late, I have to give it to him. Steve Mason's play has been better.
Yes,
as of late, and I wonder. It's a big coincidence that all of a sudden Michael Neuvirth's not behind him, and now he's playing better.
There's no pressure.
Now, see, that's ridiculous to me. You're not the only person who's told me that. You say, the pressure's off. Pressure's off for Mason now. Now he knows he's the guy.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Man, you're a professional athlete, and you're going to tell me you're worried about the guy behind you? Come on.
Yeah, well, it's different for all, everyone else. It's different for each individual person, Sometimes it's better to work without the stress. Sometimes it's, better to work with the stress.
I don't know. I think that's a bad thing. And it doesn't surprise me that Mason hasn't had more success in this league. I mean, if that, I'm speculating here, but if that is truly the case, that he's not worried about Eric Stolarz behind him, but he was worried about Neuvirth.
Anthony Stolarz.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Anthony Stolarz. If he was worried about him and not, if he was worried about Neuvirth, then that's ridiculous to me. Like, you're a professional athlete, man. You should be able to handle this. It's the same thing as Nelson Agholor.
No, I'm going to defend Mason here. Only for the fact that it doesn't help when you got a coach who's splitting the starts down the middle.
Yeah, but he's had to split the starts because they both stink.
Yeah, true.
That's why.
But at the same time, splitting the starts, you gotta go with a hot goalie, and it's hard to get hot when you're consistently splitting the starts down the middle.
Well, if either one of these two were hot, they would have been in goal consistently. Don't you agree?
I would agree, but you got to go with the hot hand, and no one's been able to maintain the hot hand.
Well, that's my point, because they're not playing well. It's not because they haven't been in goal long enough.
Yeah, because Hackstall won't let them stay in goal long enough.
Because they're not playing well. Oh, man. I'll tell you, Flyers guys, you defend your guys till the degree. I will say that. You guys are loyal, if nothing else.
You know, it doesn't help that the defense kind of stinks with Andrew McDonald and Mark.
Yeah, no question. The defense doesn't help, but there's too many times they give up easy goals.
Yeah, I would agree.
We'll see. I still want to see Stolarz. When do you think we're going to see that? You're Mr. Hockey. When's Stolarz going to make his debut?
I honestly have no clue. With the way Hackstall coaches, I have no clue.
What are you expecting to see from him? And what should be our expectations? Because a lot of people, I'm one of them, I want to see what Stolarz can bring. What are our expectations for him?
As long as he can, do decent, maybe stay, around, keep it, close to 500 in his record, I think that'd be okay. Because given the fact that you have a defense that's porous and an offense that, can be hot at sometimes but not hot at other times. By the way, the Flyers have given up the most first period goals this season. Just the note there.
Yeah, they've given up some of the almost. I mean, I haven't checked the stats in about a week, but they've given up close to the most goals in the NHL.
Yeah,
which is not all the defense.
Yeah,
not all the defense out there, Flyer Nation.
Yes,
there's been some bad goaltending.
Yes,
just want to make sure we're clear on that.
Yeah.
All right, but coming up, it's now time for grind time.
Yes,
things that irk us in the sports world throughout the past week. Mike, what do you got for us today? Grind time.
Well, I'm going to go to Doug Peterson this week. And, we all, we're on board with the Eagles right now. We are. But we need an identity for this team. And right now, we don't have that identity. We still don't have that identity. Are we going to be a run-first team or a pass-first team? Make up your decision, Doug. Come on, man. Get your head in the game. But go run first. I think it'll benefit Wentz and it'll benefit the wide receivers. Because when they least expect it, go play action pass down the field. Who knows?
Now, he tried to do that against the Seahawks. They were just totally outmatched in that game. I got to grind, though. I got to grind with Sony PlayStation. I just recently bought the PlayStation 4. Okay? It is brand new. And I'm playing Madden online, and my controller's getting low on battery. So I take out the charge cord to plug it in. And it's literally about 16 inches. That's not even 2 feet long. All right, and I have a big 50-inch screen TV, in the living room. So now, I have to play Madden up literally not even 2 feet away from a 50-inch TV. Have you ever tried doing that with a TV that big?
No.
No, you can't. You don't know what the heck's going. It was the worst experience. The cord actually broke. Because, I'm trying to get the chair as far. I have to sit in a chair because the TV's too big. So I'm sitting in the chair, all right, and I go to pull. My controller is plugged in to the charger. I go to pull it. Well, it slips out of my hand because the cord, the cord rips it out because it's so short. The control falls. I look. Now the charging cord is broken because the wires are ripped out by the USB. So I have to go get a new charging cord for my controller. Like, listen, the graphics are great, gameplay's great. What the hell is Sony PlayStation thinking, making a 16-inch charging cord? They didn't think far enough for that. All the advancements in the PlayStation 4. You mean to tell me not one person take a look at that charging cord? Guys, it's a little short. People might need to charge it while they're playing.
Yeah, even the PS3 charger was longer than that.
Holy cow! Give me a break with that, man.
Yeah. I hear you.
Oh, the system's great, but that sucks. That part of the PS3 is terrible. Yeah. Well, that's my grind for this week. PlayStation. Get a longer charging cord for the PlayStation 4.
That's a great grind.
Man, that's
a great grind.
That is so aggravating, man.
Oh, it is. I know. Been there, done that.
It's time now for the buzz. Bring you crazy, wacky stories, headlines from around the world. This week, Mike, we're going to be keeping it inside the USA.
All right.
And first off, we are going to New York City, where a furniture design firm has come up with an innovative way to create furniture. Right? They are Ecovative Design. So I'm judging by that name, they are an eco-friendly company. And like I mentioned, they found a new way to design furniture. And it's not using any traditional materials like wood or metal.
Yeah.
They have designed, they've started their own. They are using fungus to create their own furniture.
What?
They actually grow their furniture using the fungus.
Ew.
The fungus known as mycelium is a fungus that grows in stems of mushrooms and can be molded and grown into the shapes of furniture they desire. They see this as a way to continue making furniture without hurting the environment.
No, thank you.
Ecovative Design, that's the name of the company.
No, thank you. I'm going to stick to IKEA.
You don't want a nice green, fungus sofa?
No, thank you.
How about that? I get you a nice stuff a lazy boy. How about fungus boy?
No.
Or fungy boy.
No.
Play Madden than that.
Ew, no.
They haven't. I don't know. It doesn't look like. I'm reading this. I read over the story. It doesn't look like they've actually sold anything yet. That these things are available.
Who would buy that?
I wouldn't.
No.
I'm sure they have some sort of process where they can sanitize it.
Yeah.
Just the fact I don't want to sit in fungus.
No.
That sounds gross. Right off.
If you're gonna make plastic stuff, plastic friendly stuff, that's one thing. But fungus stuff, no.
No. I'm gonna have to pass on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking. There's no mention of prices or anything like that. So it looks like this is still in the experimental stages. I will say this is kind of cool. They can grow it.
Yeah.
And shape it into the shape of the furniture that they want.
I don't want to sit in fungus.
No, I'm there with you. I'd be willing to bet majority of people are going to side with you on that as well.
Yeah, if you want to be eco-friendly with plastic and stuff like that, kind of recycle, reuse, fine. But
you're okay with that?
Yeah, but fungus.
No. That is just gross.
It is.
I'm sure. I don't know. They must have smart people on it, but I'm not sitting in fungus.
No.
Sorry. I love the environment, but not enough to sit in fungus. No. All right, then we're gonna keep it local.
All right.
And if I mean local, I mean local in Philadelphia.
Oh.
Where this past week there was an incident. It was Thanksgiving week. There was an incident. An animal broke free from a slaughterhouse. And it's not the animal you would think on Thanksgiving Day.
I think I've heard of this story.
A wild bull.
I heard about this.
Broke free from a slaughterhouse in Kensington. And actually was on the loose running around in Philadelphia. He escaped from the slaughterhouse. He was on the Vine Street Expressway, seen on I-95 and 676 as well. Stopped, held up traffic, caused all sorts of delays. And actually what they had to wind up doing, they actually had to put the animal down. A wildlife officer actually shot the bull and unfortunately had to kill because he said it was a situation where they posed as a safety threat for people in the streets.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Running the bulls come early.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely not want to mess with a bull.
No. What would you do? You're walking down the street, because it was in the sideline street, right?
Yeah.
In the streets. What would you do if you were just walking down, coming back from the grocery store, and suddenly there's a bull coming at you? What do you do?
Run for my life. Run for my life.
Seriously, I mean, what do you do? Do you hide behind a car? I don't know.
I don't know. I'd run.
See, I would try to find something sturdy.
Yes.
And hide behind that, because if he's charging at you Gore's first, I'm going to try to get behind something that he can't. He's not going to be able to move.
Yeah, no.
They said the bull was 2,000 pounds.
Holy shnikes.
That's a lot of bull.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bull there, man.
Yeah, that bull don't take no bull either.
No, he doesn't. You know what happens when you mess with the bull?
You get the horns. That's. I heard about that story too. I'm
isn't that crazy?
I had to do a double take. I was like, wait, what?
I have to say, I'll give it to the bull. He was smart enough to get out of the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
He must have saw what was happening to suddenly. Hey, what?
Yeah.
He must have saw what happened to his buddies. Hey, whoa, Johnny, you're a lot smaller there. What happened?
Yeah.
I don't like what's going on here.
No.
I'll give credit to him. He got out of a bad situation, but unfortunately had the same end result for the bull, I'm afraid.
Yes.
Now, I wonder if they could still use that meat after they shot it.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know either. Yeah. I'm sure the wildlife, the hunters and all that, they would have the answer to that.
Yeah.
Got to move it along, though. Rolling here on the Philly Pod. Time now for our Week 12 pick segment. I did release a special on Thanksgiving Day. I hope everybody was able to see it and was able to cash in on it.
Yep.
I took the Redskins just to cover. That wasn't an outright win.
Right.
I liked the Redskins to cover the 7 against the Cowboys, and they did. The final was 31-26. So I'm 1-0 on the week.
Nice job.
Thank you. I believe I had a 500 week last Sunday. I know you had a tough one, 0-2. So we're going to try to bounce back.
No, you didn't. The Miami Dolphins won that game. They beat LA. They came back. They won
and I
14.
won. Yeah, and I won Jackson, and I won Detroit covering.
Oh, yeah,
over.
500. What am I thinking?
Yeah. You're trying to jip me out of a win. Trying to help your own record. But, yeah. So let's see. Here we got our Week 12 locks of the week. And I'm going to start it off.
All right.
First off, you just mentioned going out to the West Coast. And I'm going to go with... Well, actually, this week I like 2 road favorites. I like 2 road favorites this week. And here's where I'm going. You mentioned West Coast. San Diego Chargers. West Coast team. They're traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. And this was one of those lines that stands out to me. The Houston Texans, first place in the AFC South, are 1.5 underdogs to the Chargers. So the Chargers are favored by 1.5 in that game. That line smells fishy to me. I'd like the San Diego Chargers at 1.5 to cover that and win the game. Then I'm going to the Windy City, Chicago. We have the Tennessee Titans coming in. They are 5.5-point favorites on the road against the Chicago Bears. And Jay Cutler is listed as doubtful for that game, which means USC and Philadelphia's own not Philadelphia's own, I shouldn't say that, but former Philadelphia Eagles, Matt Barkley, will be starting in that game. Matt Barkley stinks as a quarterback. The Titans are a better team than the Bears. I like the Tennessee Titans to cover the 5.5 there in that game.
All right, we're going to head to Tampa Bay.
Okay.
In a key Philadelphia Eagles matchup that I think a lot of people will be focused on.
Yes.
The Seattle Seahawks are taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they are favored by 6.5. Give me the Seattle Seahawks at -6 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right, you go on the road favorite as well.
Yes. And then we head to Miami, South Beach, where the Miami Dolphins are taking on the San Francisco 49ers. I like the Miami Dolphins at -7 over the San Francisco 49ers.
All right. That's not. I'm a little surprised that line's not bigger. That worries me a little bit there with this Miami game, but I don't see the 49ers winning that game.
No.
All right, so there you go. Our locks of the week. I like San Diego at -1.5 at Houston, and Tennessee at -5.5 at Chicago. Mike likes the Seahawks at -6 at Tampa Bay, and the Miami Dolphins at -7 taking on Chipper and the San Francisco 49ers.
Yes.
All right, moving on to shout-outs. We're going to keep it just with Twitter this week. We're going to give shout-outs to Fantasy Couch, Michael Simmons, the NCB Group, and Michelle McGlade. Shout-outs to all you guys. Thank you for following us. Thank you for all of our listeners out there. Again, remember, we're on Twitter at the Philly Pod. You can like us on Facebook.
At the Philly Pod.
Right, just the Philly Pod. We're on SoundCloud. We're on iTunes. You can download us for free. You can listen to us there. We also have a YouTube channel if you'd like to check us out there as well. So time to wrap it up. Hopefully, by the time this recording hits, the Eagles will be 6-5, and come this next recording, we'll be talking about the improved Eagles' chances for the playoffs.
Yes.
If not, that's the end of playoffs in Philadelphia.
Yes.
That might be the end of the playoff dream, but they've got to win Monday night. Real quick, do you think they win? Who you got?
Eagles.
Yeah, I have a slight lean towards the Eagles as well. The fact that those guys are the injuries they have, and the fact that they're still 4-point favorites, I like that. I think I have a slight lean to the Eagles. It's going to be tough. They're going to have to score points against Green Bay. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do it. They're going to have a special teams touchdown, a defensive touchdown.
Yeah.
You're going to need something fluky, but I think they pull it out and move to 6-5. Time for us to sign off. Catch you guys next week for another episode of the Philly Pod. I'm Dave.
I'm Mike.
Catch you guys later.
Later.